1952 Mercury primer, chopped and channeled. It was great. And this guy driving it, what was he doing in junior high school? Never found out. But anyway, so that's got me started on writing these stories, making it into a memoir. So, I went back to Burlington and all of the fun that I had in Burlington as a kid, and then, segued into Park Junior and how much I learned there. It certainly prepared me for going to East High School, although, where's Bill Black? Yeah, Bill Black, he was an East High graduate, and he was on the 1962 team, finished third in the state? Fourth in the state. This is a school that total enrollment was 550 East High School. They finished in the state, thanks to him and a few others. So, by the time I got to East, I was sort of seasoned, I guess, after Park Junior. Park Junior just prepared me for just about anything. So that's how the memoir came about. And then, I graduated from East, and I'm at Umiversity of Tennessee, started in 1963, fall of 1963. Well, that was an incredible time to be at the university, because a lot of things were going on. A lot of crazy things were going on. And so I got a job at middle of my sophomore year. I get a job as a copy boy at the Knoxville Journal. Knoxville Journal was the morning daily at the time.
That's a good title for a book, isn't it?
So I get a job at the Knoxville Journal, and I'm majoring in marketing, which has nothing to do with much anything. So I get a job there, and after 2 or 3 months, this is really fun. These people are all crazy. And it's a morning newspaper. Well, that meant that we didn't lock the thing down until 2 a.m. We had 5 editions. We had the Bulldog edition, we had the 2-star, we had the 4-star, we had the 5-star City edition. There's another one there somewhere, I don't remember. So 5 editions. And the door, this was in the New Central building on Church Street. The Journal was in the second floor. The Journal editorial department was in the second floor. And the door on the street was open till 2 a.m. Well, 2 a.m. downtown, there were people that would wander in, see that there were stairs, and they could get in, and they'd walk up the stairs, and they'd be in the newsroom. We had no idea who these people were, and sometimes we had to throw them out. But that's just the kind of craziness that was going on. Well, after a while, I was hooked. And so that's how the news business, I got into the news business. The editor was a guy named Guy Lincoln Smith, who viewed the Journal as the house organ for the state Republican Party. As such, it was a pretty lousy newspaper. But I learned a lot. I learned about the engraving, I learned about the printers, I learned about all the unions that were involved there. My dad worked it out, of course, he was a member of the steel workers. So it was, I'd say, continuing the education that I really got started in Park Junior. I was working in the newspaper. I mean, in the newspaper, you see all kinds of stuff, really bad stuff sometimes. But it was a lot of fun. And so that's what I ended up doing. And the first book, the first memoir that came about from the Park Junior reunion visit, along about the time that I had written, I don't know, probably a third of it, the Knoxville Mercury came into being. So I told the editor, Corey Turson, that I really liked what they were doing, and I said, I'd like to write a column once a month. And I want to call it Restless Date. And I said, here's what I'll do. I'll do it for nothing. He says, that's good. That's good. So I wrote the column, so the Mercury basically went belly up. And a lot of those columns ended up as part of the first book. So from there, I left Knoxville in 1972 after being involved in organizing the guild at the Journal, and went to Europe. Saved up my money and just pulled up, went to Europe, and stayed there until my money ran out, which maybe 10 weeks, something like that. And that started the travel. So, Remnants and Reflections, this book is probably 1/3, maybe a half of it is about travel, including 1977, 3 weeks in the Soviet Union, which was a fascinating trip, from Leningrad to Irkutsk and to Central Asia, to Australia, Chile, Egypt, Cyprus, Europe several times. So that's sort of where I am with the memoir. Two books, memoir, classic memoir. And for this one, Remnants and Reflections, I decided I wanted a sort of minimalist cover. And, I knew this guy here from my days. He was at the New Sentinel then. Yeah, he was still at the New Sentinel. But anyway, so I had a photograph that I wanted this sort of skeptical, sideways look. And so I showed the photograph to Charlie, and I said, "Can you do that drawing?" And this is what he ended up.
Hey.
I looked at Remnants and Reflections from a half century in the writing trip. The places I worked included the Journal, Miami Herald, Charlotte Observer, Louisville Times, Banger Family in Louisville, Kentucky, Dallas Times Herald, Times Mirror in Dallas, Kansas City Star, Kansas City, Missouri, and then the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, plus some couple magazines in there too. And the last, when I finally decided to hang that up, I was doing travel pieces for the New York Times. COVID sort of put me into that. So anyway, that's where I am. So I'm going to turn it over to Charlie Henry. He's going to talk about how he uses Rosie's Diner.
Charlie, I need to tell you that we have a lot of our church members out there. And
Get to the point where you can't work for some person X anymore if you don't respect them. But now, if you're trying to make a living, as I was doing, then you're going to have to put up with that some. But most large newspapers, there's a lot of different sections, there's a lot of different departments. And I have discovered over the years that, okay, this person's an idiot, doesn't know what they're doing, their ego's too big, blah, blah, blah. But I sort of like this person over here, and that's, I've written about everything. I've written about food, I've written about ballet, I've written about fashion, I've written sports, I've written, you name it, and sometimes that was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to move away from some particular editor. And there are a couple of places where I left jobs because I didn't respect the people I was working with. One of them,
can I tell a quick
one
story?
of them was the Knoxville Journal. I mean, I've been there all the way through college, and then another 3 years, to 1972, and like I said, I was involved in starting the guild. The New Sentinel already had a guild. Basically, I was getting us, process to get us part of it. And I just decided when I started that I was not gonna be there. I was gonna see it through to the election, the guild election, and I was not gonna be there. And it was because the person I was working with, I had no respect for. And I had enough confidence myself in what I had learned and what I was doing at that point, that I knew I could make a living doing journalism. I didn't want to do it right there. I didn't want to do it in Knoxville. And the same thing happened in Charlotte, Missouri, Charlotte, North Carolina. I didn't want to work there. Luckily, I was able to get a really good job.
A quick story, I think this is what you're talking about. I wrote Paper Boy, and it took off, it did amazing, and so I started on Copy Boy, which was a sequel, and I worked hard on it 2 or 3 years. I turned that into Random House, and they said, Vince, we love your story, we love what you've done with it, but there's a problem. We don't let our popular characters grow old. And I said, well, that's not life. And my editor said, yeah, but that's publishing. So we found another publisher, and they were pleased with it. And
I'll tell you one thing, my feeling about a good copy editor is your best friend. A good copy editor can improve, I don't care what it is, a good copy editor can improve it. A bad copy editor can take something that's wonderful and make it trash.
It's
a skill, yeah.
It's a different thing. I mean, you're talking copy editing, you're talking line editing. You're talking, what I was talking about wasn't line editing. It was the assigning editor. And those people who said, I don't like your approach on this. You know, you're not gonna get that from a line editor. But, you know, you're dealing with a lot of different people in the newspaper business. And you're used to what you're doing.
Well, in terms of dealing with the public, if I could just make one other point, dealing with the public, you know about really getting it. Charlie and I love to trade our hate mails. Back and forth, the hate mail. And we knew we really scored, we were getting the hate mail from the same person. I sent Charlie one over and I said, I think he's off his meds again.
Time for one more question, and then these guys have books that are available for sale, and we'll be signing them.